Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Paterson Board of Adjustment meeting of Thursday, April 22nd, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. via webinar session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I am Margarita Vega, your board secretary this evening. The notice requirement of the Open Public Meeting Law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location included in the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board filed with the clerk of the city of Paterson, posted in City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. Chairman Paterson, may I call the roll, sir?
Go ahead.
Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Furman?
Present.
Commissioner Hodges?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Levine?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Minaudo? She'll be running late, but at this moment she is absent. Commissioner Rohim?
Present.
Commissioner Watkins?
Present, Maggie.
Thank you. Commissioner Arenas?
Present, Maggie.
Thank you. And Chairman Thaxton?
Present.
Thank you. Chairman Thaxton, may I proceed with the agenda, sir?
Yes.
Notice pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act addressing the effect of coronavirus measures on the next public meeting. Consistent with the coronavirus-related restrictions of the Executive Order Number 107 given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020 by Governor Philip D. Murphy, the Board of Adjustment of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10-4-8, commencing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the council chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street, Paterson, New Jersey, in-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling 1-973-321-1579, meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Board of Adjustment regular meeting of Thursday, April 22nd at 7:30 p.m. on the date and time that the meeting is scheduled to commence. The public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson at www.patersonnj.gov. This is the first application this evening. It is Sunel Apartments, 224-228 17th Avenue, Lot 3911, Lot 4. An application to demolish an existing mixed-use building and then construct a 3-story, 13-unit apartment building. The apartment building is to build on a 75-foot by 100-foot lot, where the minimum lot size in an R2 zone is 50 by 100 feet for a 1-family and 2-family dwelling. The proposed construction would consist of 13 covered parking spaces on the 1st floor and 1-bedroom apartment. The 2nd floor will consist of 1 1-bedroom apartment and 5 2-bedroom apartments. The 3rd floor will consist of 1 1-bedroom apartment and 5 2-bedroom apartments. The applicant is providing 13 spaces of the 23 spaces that are required. This is for use bulk site plan in an R2 zone. Is the applicant present?
Chairman. The applicant present ready, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The next application is George Krasnowski, 167-169 East 22nd Street, Lot 2408, Lot 6, This is an application to convert a current 5-bedroom, 1-family dwelling into a 5-bedroom, 2-family dwelling on a 37-foot by 100-foot lot. The minimum lot size for a 1-family and 2-family dwelling is 50 feet by 100-foot lot in an R2 zone. The applicant proposes the first floor will consist of a 2-bedroom apartment and the second floor will consist of a 3-bedroom apartment. The applicant will provide 2 parking spaces of the 4 parking spaces that are required. This is for use, bulk, and site plan in an R2 zone. Is the applicant present?
Applicant is present and ready. Please note for the record, Mr. Chairman, that by all agreement between your staff and our experts, this is not a use variance, so we'll be seeking use and bulk. So the agenda is actually not completely accurate.
Thank you. Chairman Thaxton, you may proceed.
Okay, we'll proceed with item number 1. Mr. Maricondo.
Yes, we're ready, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Alan Maricondo on behalf of the applicant, Chanel Apartments. Our property's at 224, 228, 17th Avenue, excuse me. We are presenting an application here tonight for site use and bulk variances on this site for development as a multifamily. I will note the tax score has been updated since the report was provided, and we are ready to proceed this evening with Mr. Romanek as our architect planner. There is also engineering site plans which Mr. Romanek will be testifying to as well. So he will be our only expert in this case. And the applicant, Mr. Nelson Flores, is also here to testify. At this point, we're ready to call Mr. Romanek at this time.
Mr. Romanek, please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your full name for the record?
Yes, Michael Romanek, R-O-M-A-N-I-K. I'm an architect and planner.
Mr. Chairman, we would ask for Mr. Romanek to be.
We accept your credentials, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. As I indicated in my opening, Commissioners, this is an application which is in the R2 zone, which is low medium density. However, the applicant is seeking to develop this site for more residential units than is permitted within this zone. This is an area that I know the commissioners are very familiar with, which does contain a mix of uses and multi-families as well in the surrounding area. And we believe that we can establish here this evening that the criteria is met for the granting of the use and bulk variances as well as site plan approval. So we'll call Mr. Romanek as our first witness at this time. Mr. Romanek,
Yes, I'm good.
I'm sorry, I lost a good portion of opening statement. I didn't hear it. It seemed to be frozen.
okay. But did everyone else hear, or should I repeat?
Well, I heard it, but I don't know if the other commissioners heard, maybe,
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Mr. Maricondo.
Okay, so I'll just briefly summarize again what I said. We're seeking site plan use and bulk variances. We acknowledge we are in an R2 zone, that's why we're here before the board. This is generally a mixed-use area with some similar or comparable type of housing and commercial uses as well. We do have a lot size which we believe is suitable for this type of development, and I'm going to be calling Mr. Romanek at this time.
Yes. Commissioner Gordon? Can I proceed?
Mr. Chairman, we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Commissioners, I would like to describe the architectural drawing first, and if we could please share the screen, I'd appreciate it. To show sheet number 1 of the architectural drawings dated April 10, 2019. Sheet number 1 will show the elevations of the building. The lower diagram shows the existing front elevation. As you can see, see there, the building is 69 feet wide and 96 feet deep. As you can see, it's a 3-story building. The third floor will in fact contain 6 apartments comprised of 5 2-bedroom apartments and 1 1-bedroom apartment. The second floor is typical, also comprised of 6 apartments. And the ground floor, which we will be seeing on the next sheet, contains a 1-bedroom apartment, a single 1-bedroom apartment. The building, as you can see, is 3 stories in height. Therefore, as I indicated, 6 stories on each of the second and third floors and 1 on the ground floor will total, in fact, 13 dwelling units. The property is comprised of 75 feet of frontage along 17th Avenue and 100 feet deep. The property is situated west of East 27th Street, and it is comprised of a mixed residential commercial area. Looking at the diagram at the top of the sheet, Commissioners, you'll see the left side elevation. The ground level, again, is comprised and designed for parking and other functions, which we will see on the succeeding sheets. The right side is typical to what you're looking at as far as the left side goes with configuration itself. The windows will be different located. However, the bulk of the building is similar to the left side elevation. As you can see also from the summary that we have on sheet number 1 on the far right, in margin, you'll see that each of the 2-bedroom apartments have at least 900 square feet, which is the minimum square foot area for 2-bedroom apartments. The
Mr. Romanek, you need to go to sheet 2 for your screen. You described the apartments, so you need to go to sheet 2, please.
Yes.
Okay, there you go, thank you.
Well, sheet number 2, actually, I would describe the apartments again. Sheet number 2 shows the ground floor. As you can see, there are 13 parking spaces. There are 2 stairways serving the upper floors, and you also see the 1 apartment, which is towards the left of that diagram. That's the 1-bedroom apartment, which is comprised of more than 600 square feet, which also meets the minimum size. You'll see that we have a room for recycled items, and also dumpsters, which are located, accessible from the interior of the building, but they are towards the front, along the front property line on 17th Avenue. So you'll see the locations. We also are providing a barrier-free parking space, which is labeled number 13. Again, 17th Avenue is to the far left of the diagram. You'll see the red dotted line around the property, which basically shows the dimensions of the property, and as I indicated, it's 100 feet deep, going from left to right, and the width of the property is 75 feet. So that describes the ground floor parking, the 2 stairways, the 1 dwelling unit, and the 2 dumpsters. Commissioners, if we can also go to sheet number 3, you'll see what a typical second floor and third floor looks like. And again, you can see the locations of the stairs, which are the same location as I described on the ground floor. You'll see each of the apartments. Again, they're all 2-bedroom apartments except the 1-bedroom apartment, which is on the lower left-hand corner of the diagram. They all, again, comply with the minimum lot area of at least 900 square feet. We do have some tenant storage, as you can see, on the interior of the floor itself. There are 2 sections there, and there's also a janitor's room as well. The third floor is very similar, and actually we don't have to go to sheet number 4 yet, Commissioners, but you can see that it's labeled as the second floor plan and third floor typical. So that is identical in both cases where the second floor and third floor resemble each other. Again, the front of the building is towards the left here, where it does say 17th Avenue. There's nothing more to add to this except, as I indicated, we have the 6 apartments again, 5 2-bedroom apartments, and the single 1-bedroom apartment. If we turn to sheet number 4, you'll see the basement level, which is located under the parking area. It's not the full extent of the parking area above, but as you can see, some of the spaces that are labeled, and we do have the 2 stairways also, which lead down to the basement level. We have a resident gym area, which would be for tenants. There's also a laundry room that would be used by the tenants as well. There's a space, looking at the stairway to the left there, you'll see a space that's not titled. That, in fact, is a passageway or empty room to the laundry and the resident gym. You'll see a large space as well, which is dimensioned 18 feet wide. That's for utilities, meters, the sprinkler valve would be there. The building itself obviously will have a sprinkler system in it. It will also have a fire alarm system as well. You'll see located on the ground floor in this diagram on sheet 4, there's a security room. There's also storage for a gym and other equipment. There's lockers that are also indicated on the residential area, which is approximately 1,548 square feet. So that ground floor is above this, as I indicated. The basement is most of the ground floor level, but as you can see from the blue line, if you're able to see that, that's the line of the building above, and you can see the relationship of the basement. It's smaller in size. So, Commissioners, that's, in a sense, that's what we're proposing, a 3-story building having residential units on the 2nd and 3rd floors of identical mix in configuration. The ground floor will have the 1 apartment. 13 parking spaces will be for the tenants themselves, which has a 25-foot wide accessible driveway from 17th Avenue. As you can see, the parking spaces are laid out. Each one is dimensionally meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance, which are 9 feet by 18 feet in depth, also having a 24-foot backup from each apartment. And there's room, obviously, for mechanical space, as I said, which is below and the basement level. So that, in a sense, describes the building. Commissioners. I thought you would like to see the building itself. We could go to the site plan drawing at this time if you wish to do that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, that would be excellent, thank you.
Commissioners, you'll look at the first sheet of the site plan, and you can see again it's oriented the same way as my ground floor parking diagram. Essentially, it shows the parking which my plan shows, and also drainage. So this drawing primarily shows the drainage. Everything else, as I described, pretty much shows what my plan shows. I think it was adopted verbatim, more or less, in the same plan. But you'll see the drainage facilities there. The surveys to the far right, that shows the existing building, which will be removed. And there you can see clearly that the building is set. The lot is 75 feet wide by a depth of 100 feet, or obviously 7,500 square feet. The area is mixed, as I indicated, with residential and business uses. The variances that we're seeking, Commissioners, are the variances for the use itself. It is a 2-family zone. We are providing something that's beyond the 2-family. Obviously, it's a multiple family structure. The density is also a request with respect to a D variance. The number of units exceed what is permitted on the site. And also the floor area ratio, that is the amount of floor area compared to the lot itself, also exceeds the ordinance itself. We also are requesting both variances in the form of lot area. We do provide 7,500 square feet of lot area. 10,000 is required. The lot width we have is 75 feet, 100 feet is proposed. The 4 setback requirements are not satisfied as well. As you can see, on the left side, the rear, and the right side, we are providing a 3-foot setback. Dimensionally, more than 3 feet is required on each of the sides and also the rear. The open space area, we don't have open space area with respect to the ratio of each apartment that's required by the zoning ordinance.
But we do have a substantial amount of open space according to Mr. Paparazzi's report as well.
It's not actually open space, Mr. Maricondo, but I included it because it was amenities. It's not open space, but so I've sort of given like a courtesy.
Right, in terms of the
Courtesy call on that, okay?
ground level laundry area and amenity space, right? Yeah.
Well, the gym, and that stuff, yeah.
Typically, the open space, that's what we've been doing on other projects, is providing some amenities for the tenants itself. It's not a green space, you may say. However, we feel that providing the gym, as you can see, is substantial in size. It's over 1,500 square feet. And there is a tenant laundry, which has 8 washers, stacked washers, as well as 8 stacked, or I should say 8 stacked dryers and washers. So we feel that it certainly does make up for any open space requirements that we do have to provide. And again, the parking, we do have 13 spaces. Obviously, we're also seeking a variance for that. the roof density and the floor area ratio, as well as the bulk variances, which have to do with the coverage of the building with regard to the site, as well as the setbacks, primarily in the open space, which we feel that we've made up in the ground floor or the basement level itself. The next sheet, commissioners, of the site plan is essentially details showing various details for the stormwater retention. There's a curb detail, driveway detail, and so on. Those are construction details, commissioners, which would be used to construct the various site improvements of the property itself. So, in essence, that's a summary of what we're proposing. Commissioners, for all purposes, again, 13 units on that site, which we feel is acceptable.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, with respect to the proposal, we are providing then one parking space per unit, essentially?
Yes.
Okay, so that each tenant would be able to be allocated that space?
Yes, that's correct. We've got 13 spaces and there are 13 units.
And could you give us a little more follow-up, if you're able to, with regard to the surrounding area and the nature of the uses and why you feel that this use would not create any negative impact?
Yeah, well, there are residential uses in the area as well as business uses as well. There are neighborhood businesses in the area, and certainly I know we have to show the positive criteria, and we feel that certainly it will serve the general public. It will be serving the general welfare of the people themselves in the surrounding area as well by providing sound housing. With regard to the negative criteria, commissioners, we feel that it would not substantially impair the intent of the zoning plan, even though we do exceed the number of units allowed on the site itself. But 13 units compared to a 7,500 square foot lot that we feel is reasonable. We do provide at least one space for each of the apartments. And we feel that it will not substantially be adverse to the surrounding area. We feel that, in fact, it will show that it's a positive effect on the neighborhood itself by providing the sound housing.
Mr. Mack, are you familiar with, from your analysis of the site, what was on this site prior, if you know?
Yes, as I recall, I haven't been out there recently, but over the last, I guess, so many months, it's a building in really disrepair. The owner is knocking it down, of course. It had been vacant. I don't know if it's still vacant. I believe it is. It should be removed. It's an eyesore.
And what type of building is it, if you can recall?
Yes, it's a two-story frame building. As a matter of fact, the ground floor, I believe, is at sidewalk level. And I remember looking at the building on the inside and seeing the rock that was created on the level because it's a wood structure, a wood frame structure, so it's deteriorated with the conditions over the years. And as I said, the ground floor, as I recall, was right at sidewalk level, which would certainly be susceptible to the elements, the snow and so on. And there was rock in the frame itself, in the lower section.
Okay. So we're not looking at an infill lot, but in reality, this is that the applicant has purchased, which is really not serving any positive purpose in its present condition.
Exactly, it's an eyesore, and there's no parking now with respect to the building itself for the use in the past. So we are providing something beneficial, we feel, in the neighborhood.
Okay, that's all I have at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Gary,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Romanek, I'm going to ask you to share some screens, some sheets. This way, not only the commissioners, but the public can see them as well. So, on your architectural drawing, can you go to sheet 2 of 4?
Yes.
Okay. Now, obviously, to the left of your screen is 17th Avenue. The building is 1 foot off the property line, and you have those dumpsters right in the front there. On the top part of that drawing, the top left. Now, if you go to sheet 1 of 4, please.
Yes.
Okay, on the bottom there, you have a planter where the dumpsters are. On the 17th Avenue elevation,
Yes.
it looks like you have a planter there where the dumpsters are. You can't fit both. Is there something I'm missing?
No, oh, okay, yes, I see what you're saying, that was done for illustrative purposes. There's nothing on the site plan proper itself Intentionally, there was gonna be a wall there, and we did have an idea that the dumpsters would be located elsewhere. However, you're absolutely right, we cannot have the width of the, planter there, so there would be a wall, however. And that, the height of the wall we're showing is 2 feet 6 inches, you would not have any planting as shown.
Mr. O'Malley, can we advise the board or make a suggestion? I realize you didn't do the site plan per se, but do you have a?
No, this is the architect plan, Mr. Maricondo we're still talking about.
Right, but I mean, in terms of relocating dumpster, might be something Mr. O'Malley can touch upon, you know.
Well, I think what we could do, because if you do look at my architectural sheet number 2, you'll see that, in fact, the building itself, the upper level is 12 inches from the property line. However, you can also see that the line or dotted line of the dumpsters is also 12 inches. So we do have 2 feet to the front property line, which I'm not saying necessarily to provide for the planter, but we do have 2 feet. We could adjust the dumpster possibly. It's shown as 8 feet wide. We can make that 7 feet and have an effective 3-foot width planter, which would certainly support growth as far as shrubbery goes. So,
Then you would have to enclose those dumpsters with something, because the garbage will end up in the planter. Quite frankly, you know, I'm not so sure that's a good idea, because you have that open space there, and the garbage, the smell of the garbage is gonna be out on 17th Avenue, because it's open. Quite frankly, you know, I'm not so sure, you know, I'm not sure, I like how that works, because you have the dumpsters right on top of the shrubbery in an open area right on top of 17th Avenue, and people walking by are gonna smell the garbage. You have mostly all 2 bedrooms. Out of the 13, you have 10 that are 2 bedrooms, so there's a chance that they're gonna be children, and you may or may not have diapers and things of that nature, which besides food, which would add to the smell, you know, and so I'm not so sure. One, if the dumpsters are gonna stay there, if that wall should be open. And 2, if the planter's gonna be staying there, then the dumpster should be relocated and maybe somehow figure out another spot for it, but right now, I don't think it works. Alright, so that's enough of that. But now, I'm gonna go to the, sheet 3 or 4. You have, 2 stories of, apartments, 2nd and 3rd floor. So somebody's coming down with their garbage, they essentially have to walk 6 flights. Right, 3 stories, they have to get to the ground floor, they have to walk 6 flights with their garbage. But more importantly, if you go back to sheet 2 of 4, they come out the stairway, they have to walk half the length of the parking lot, which is probably not safe. If they go out the other stairway, then they have to take their garbage along 17th Avenue and enter back into the entrance or exit of the driveway, which again is not safe. So again, I have some concerns with that. Not only the 6 floors of walking up and down, but that location where, quite frankly, now you're already short 12 parking spaces, so I'm assuming that place will be packed. It's not safe to walk through almost the entire garage to get to the dumpster area. And that's not only for dumpsters, but it's also for recycling. They have to cross the garage.
Yes,
So I'm not so happy with that design as well. You know, I think that part of it is because the building is occupying almost the entire lot, you know, which doesn't give you any room for anything. And last but not least, you did go over the variances, but there's 2 I want to touch on. One is the floor area ratio. And this again goes to the remarks about the building occupying almost the entire lot. the floor area ratio, which is allowed, is exceeded by 3.5 times, which is pretty much a lot. And I'm not saying that for the units, but the floor area ratio is, you know, that's really high. And, I thought that was, you know, that's an extreme. And also the other part, issue on the variance that you mentioned was the parking. While you do have a space for every unit, 25 is required and 13 is provided. And during my site inspection, there was no parking for my one car. So I think that's where your negative criteria comes in. Although I do defer the parking to the commissioners, but that is an important note to jot down, that if you can't park one car, you know, 12 spaces short is going to make a negative impact.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Mr. Paparazzi, I think you probably have seen in some of the projects I've done of this nature, where in fact I have a trash chute on each floor for the tenants, and it drops down to the ground floor where you have a compactor and so on. But I think Mr. Flores may have some comments on this. I recall talking to him, and I think he's going to have someone that would actually retrieve the garbage from each apartment and properly throw it into a dumpster or something, so maybe he can comment on that. I believe he's here tonight. But as I said, you can recall from some of the projects I've done where I do have a trash chute, so this is something where...
Yeah, well, I would like to have seen a trash chute, because the accessibility right now I think is potentially dangerous, and you know, walking with a garbage bag with 6 flights of stairs, is, you know, is probably not the best situation.
Well, we could possibly relocate that. I'm looking at sheet number 2, which is the ground floor level, and as you can also, I think, confirm, Mr. Paparazzi, that my plan, the ground floor plan, is more or less shows the building itself. It's not shown on the site plan as it possibly should have been. But we could put that where the shrubs are, or a portion of it. I mean, it would be in front of, you know, spaces.
What, Mr. Romanek?
Possibly the dumpsters can go in that area where the shrubs are. That might be an option. I mean, we have to look at it more carefully and so on. Unless where they are now is completely walled in.
Well, you know what the problem is there, though, Mr. Romanek? If you put them by the shrubs, then the hauler can't get to them unless those parking spaces are unoccupied. And being 12 short, I'm not so sure that they're ever going to be unoccupied, you know? So, there is a little, you know, it's a little catch-22, you know, because of the building size.
We could possibly put them where space number 5 is, and still save a space where the dumpsters are. That would certainly be in close proximity to the stairway number 2, which is on the top of the diagram. So the dumpsters could be contained in there. They would have a wall enclosure and a gate, of course, for smells.
Yeah, okay, well, that's an option. Also, Mr. Romanek, you did testify on the engineer's report, but you did talk to me. The engineer has the completely inaccurate zoning chart.
Yes.
So obviously the engineer would have to, if the application gets approved, not only would you have to do an alteration with the dumpsters, but the engineer would have to do some revisions as well with the zoning chart.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I also have another question about the AC units. Are they going to be AC units, or how's that handled?
Yes, at this point they wouldn't be placed on the roof. They wouldn't be visible to the street itself. We can always put screening, but typically that's it. So there would be condensers on the roof itself. Yes.
Yeah, that you need to note that on your plan as well. The building is big enough that you don't need any parapet wall. You can put it in the middle, and you still be far away from the corners of the building.
Yes.
So, but that also needs to be addressed as well. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, that's all I have for Mr. Romanek. If, you have any questions for me, I will answer. Thank you.
Any commissioners have questions?
I do, Mr. Saxon. Is there any chance you could reduce the number of units in this, building? I mean, and change that, floor area ratio? I'm just a little concerned about that density.
Yes, I understood, Commissioner Hodges. What I would like to do is, once the commissioners have completed or concluded their questioning of Mr. Romanek, and before I call Mr. Flores, I'd like the opportunity to speak to him regarding that concept.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Okay, Mr. Walker, could you open it up to the public, please?
Yes, Chairman, thank you. To the members of the public, if you have any questions of this witness, please call 973-321-1579 and with prompt to enter the meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Again, this is the time to simply ask questions of this witness. If you have comments or statements, you'll have an opportunity at the end. Now is specifically to ask questions as to the testimony you just heard. And if you have a question with regard to the testimony you just heard, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment and see who calls in. I believe there may be some callers.
Yes, I'm on the call.
Hold on one
Oh,
moment.
excuse me, this is, Margarita Vega, the secretary. Mr. Marco LaRocca, we have about we do have seven objectors at this time, so I will call you one by one. And, you can speak, only the person that I call by name. The attorney will guide you the rest of the way. So the first objector is Stacy Berger. Are you there, Miss Berger?
It's Burton, Burton.
Thank you very much. You may proceed, Mr. LaRocca.
Well, Ms. Bergman, do you have any questions of this witness?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
So my first question is, do you have any plans that show the how high this structure is supposed to be built versus the buildings that already exist?
Well, Ms. Burton, this is Gary Paparosi. This is the planner for the zoning board. The existing building is 2 stories. The proposed building is going to be 3 stories and approximately 32 feet in height. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's the difference.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a measure. I don't know what the buildings look like here, but would it be reminiscent to the buildings that we see going up all over Paterson that are so huge that it overtakes everything else within the neighborhood?
Mr. Paparazzi, I think Mr. Romanek maybe could address that.
Okay.
Well, I think I'm right, Mr. Paparazzi. I think we should agree on that. I believe it's 35 feet maximum, and we are proposing 32 feet.
That answers the number one question I think that was raised, that we're actually 3 feet under the maximum height requirement.
I can get my zoning ordinance, wherever it's not next to me, but I believe it's 35 feet, and we are proposing 32 feet.
And also, one of the chairman that just spoke addressed the next issue that I have, and it was regarding the size of the units. We are already a very, very dense populated.
Ma'am, you'll have an opportunity to give a comment at the end. Do you have any questions?
No, this is a question. So my question is, do you have any alternative plans to reduce the the amount of units that are going to be in that building to minimize the amount of people that will be occupying it, to reduce the number of parking, which you already are not accommodating.
As I indicated, this is the attorney for the applicant. We're going to be taking a break after the conclusion of questions for the expert, planner and architect, at which time I'll be speaking to the applicant off the record regarding that question.
Okay, I have no more questions. Thank you.
Ms. Burton, what is your address, please?
I reside at 240 17th Avenue.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Our next caller is a Shoreline Hodges. Are you there?
It's Sherilyn Hodges.
Oh, Sherilyn, thank you very much.
Ms. Hodges, do you have any questions of this witness?
Yes, one of my questions is, it seems that, looking at the drawings, I came down today to look at the drawings, it seems that, there's some, buildings that's missing on that, drawing. Because you only have, you're missing, this 3 storefronts that's not included on that, drawing. It seems like the scale of the drawing is wrong.
Okay, well, I don't know how we could specifically address that, except to say that Mr. Romanik's testimony is that there's a 2-story building, frame building, which is not, to the best of his knowledge, not occupied. We are only one lot, lot 4, perhaps referring to an adjoining building, but Mr. Romanik, you have any idea?
Yes, well, the existing building will be removed. And we are proposing.
So how are you going to remove it, but somebody owns those buildings?
So the owner is going to remove it.
You're not including the laundromat, it's the house, and then it's 3 storefronts with apartments up above it, and that's not included in those drawings.
That's not part of our application.
I know you said that's not part of your application, but you're not including that when you're drawing that building in. The space is not there.
The vacant lots are beyond the scope of our site.
Ms. Hodges, Gary Paparosi, that building there with the storefronts, that's coming down. This new proposal is going to take up the entire lot. That other building is going to be completely removed. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but I thought it was.
No, because I spoke to the owner, the person who owns those buildings today. He said nobody ever told him that they were buying his building.
Well, I think the owner is making the application. The owner of the property, that Sunil Apartments, I assume, owns the property, and he's the gentleman. Maybe the tenants don't know that the building is going to come down if the application gets approved.
So, okay. So then my question is, then the addresses are wrong. Because you only included the one address.
Well, the address of the application,
Now, if you're tearing down the whole block, then you don't have the whole addresses right.
No. They're not tearing down the entire block, just that one block, which is house number 224-228, which is on 75 by 100. It's only the one lot, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I have your address for the record?
It's 236 17th Ave.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The next caller is Luis Sanchez. Are you there, sir? Mr. Luis Sanchez?
It's Jimmy Sanchez.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting these names from, my staff, so I'm not sure. Jimmy, what is your address? What is your address?
239 17th Avenue.
Thank you, you may proceed.
Mr. Sanchez, do you have any questions of this witness?
No, I don't have any questions at this moment.
Thank you. Who's the next caller?
Monique Baptiste?
Ms. Baptiste, please share your address on the record.
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Please place your address on the record.
Yes, Monique Baptiste, 699 East 28th Street.
Ma'am, do you have any questions of the witness with regard to his testimony?
Yes, I have 3 questions and also just one quick clarification. The first is, if I'm understanding correctly, we're talking about a building that, you all are saying that there's a building that's up. I believe this is the lot where the building has been torn down, formerly owned by Jesse Dixon, according to the tax records. So just to alleviate the confusion that seems to be going back and forth, I don't know why the representatives for the applicant don't realize that the existing building has been torn down, but that is now currently a vacant lot. So the 3 questions that I have are, one is there the expectation to widen the entrance, the curb cut entrance for the parking? The reason why I'm asking currently is because that is going to affect street parking that's currently available on 17th Avenue. The second question, do we want to take this one question at a time?
Well, you gotta give him an opportunity to answer the question.
That would be helpful.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can you address the curb cut?
Yes, the curb cut will be no more than 25 feet. And linear.
So is that widening from the current curb cut?
If possibly it is. I didn't measure the existing curb cut. But it will, with the requirements of the city, and it'll be, as I indicated, no more than 25 feet length along the curb. It'd be a drop curb.
Okay. Okay. The second question is relative to security. Will the underground parking be secured in any way? Because if that location is not secured, the utilization of those spots will probably impact the surrounding parking area. So what is the security plan for underground parking?
Well, the owner is here tonight, but I think you indicated underground parking. There's no underground parking. It's surface parking, which is street level. And I believe the owner, we do have a security room in the basement. And I know he intends to have security provisions, and I think that's something that he can answer directly.
Is there a lighting plan for that? I'm sorry for staying underground and underneath parking. Is there a lighting plan that will ensure that that's well lit and secure to encourage utilization?
Oh yes, absolutely. It will be well lit.
Okay, and the last question that I have is, is there an expectation that there will be private trash collection, or will this be using the public trash pickup? Because just wanted to get a sense of how that would be managed.
Yes, that would be by private contractors, and again, the owner can speak on that.
Is the owner present or no?
He will be testifying, next.
Okay, great, thank you. Those are my only questions.
The next caller is Andrea Hill. Are you there, ma'am?
Ms. Hill? Go to the next caller, please.
Dr. Baptiste Frasco? Dr. Frasco, are you there?
Go on to the next caller, please.
Hello?
He's present, but is muted. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, who's this?
This is Dr. Baptiste Frasco.
Thank you. You may proceed.
What's your address,
Thank you.
doctor?
Good evening, it's 699 East 28th Street.
Do you have a question of this witness?
Yes, I just have 2 questions. One, do you have a sketch or outlining showing the spacing between the buildings that will be on the left and the right of this? Just trying to understand the alleyway, because that's a constant concern in that area.
Not to the distance of the adjoining buildings, however, the subject building will be 3 feet to the left side property line and 3 feet to the right side property line. And I don't know what
And the buildings are on line on the right and the left. So your alleyways are gonna be 3 feet on the right and 3 feet on the left.
And will the alleyways be accessible to any and everyone? Or will there be some type of gate or to prevent the loitering and concerns you have already on 17th Ave?
Well, they're 3 feet wide. It isn't much of a gathering spot, I would feel personally. They would be only for the use by the tenants. That's
So only accessible by the tenant?
clearly the walkway on the left side, was that is providing access from stair number 2 to 17th Avenue. But they would not be open to the public, and it's only 3 feet wide, so I don't anticipate a gathering of people in those side yards.
Okay. And so my second question is based on the gathering, the security, and I guess this is where the owner we can ask, I guess, when he does his testimony, but I am concerned about loitering and the increase of that on 17th Ave. So I'm just trying to see if there's some security plans on the amount of traffic that will be in front of this building now that you're adding this amount of residents to this area.
We'll have the applicant address that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Our next caller is Kiara Brown. Are you there, ma'am? Kiara Brown?
I have no question.
Okay, thank you. The only person that can unmute yourself would be Andrea Hill. *6, I think it is, okay? If you need to, thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes,
Yes, this is Andre Hill.
yes.
I am the owner of 220-222, 17th Ave. My question is, once the building go up, is the remainder, is that amount of space that they have now for the alleyway going to remain that way?
Well, sir, are you on the right side or left side of the subject property?
It would be, if you're facing the building, it would be on your left side.
Okay, and what address you said, to?
220-222, 17th Ave.
Okay, okay, and it seems that the 222 is on the right side, because I see 230 on the left side of the survey on sheet number 1 of 2 of the site plan drawing. However, in either case, there's going to be a 3-foot setback to each of the side property lines, so there'll be 3 feet to the right side, 3 feet to the left side.
Okay, so you say 3 feet, so you're saying the right side of the building that's gonna be done?
Right side on each side
The right side of our building will be 3 feet?
Yes, Mr. Brown, Gary Paparosi, there's gonna be 3 feet on both sides, 3 feet on the right side and 3 feet on the left.
Oh,
So they have no intentions of touching the 20. You have no.
okay, all right, because I was also on the line with, I guess there was some confusion where they were saying that the building was coming down, and somebody clarified and said the building was already tore down.
Okay, we check that.
Yes.
Okay. So is that true, or is there intentions to tear my building down?
Of course, we cannot tear anyone's property building down now.
Okay, so there's no intention to tear the building down. Okay, I just wanted to be sure, clear of that. And it should be 3 feet to the right and 3 feet to the left, because currently I'm unable to get my lawnmower in to cut the grass without tilting it.
Any more questions, sir?
That's it.
Chairman, please let the record reflect, I believe Commissioner Monaro is part of the meeting?
Yes, she is. Commissioner Rinaldo?
I'm here, present.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I may ask whether the commissioner has heard the testimony, just so we know who's going to be voting at the end?
She will not be voting, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question, if I may.
Go ahead, Commissioner Hodges.
Do you plan to have security on site in that security room?
I believe so, but the owner can address that tonight.
Where will they be using, what are the bathroom facilities going to be for that so there are none downstairs.
Well, eventually there would be. These are preliminary drawings, but that would have to be satisfied before any permits are issued. Building permits, fire permits, electrical, plumbing, and so on. These are preliminary plans. So we have to provide for those.
But your plans currently don't include that structure.
So I'm not following what structure.
A bathroom downstairs in the basement.
Yeah, that would be in the security room. Yes, it would be always there to provide for the security personnel, absolutely.
And there should also be, excuse me, Mr. Hodges, there should also be a bathroom in the gym.
These are preliminary drawings, of course, and as I indicated before, any permits to be issued, the drawings have to be proper. Construction drawings, these are not construction drawings. So there would be facilities, obviously, sanitary facilities providing for tenants.
Well, how do I know that you won't put a fully staffed bathroom downstairs and I don't see it? That it done.
Well, I think what we can do, Commissioner Hodges, hopefully when the applicant testifies, I'll have them go over any specifics about how the security room is going to be manned and utilized. Mr. Roman did not include it in his plan because he felt that it wasn't necessary for the preliminary site plan, but we certainly understand your question and we will address it.
Thank you.
Mr. Rocco?
That's all the callers, correct?
You're correct, sir. Thank you.
Let's proceed with the next witness, please.
Mr. Chairman and Council, if I would, I'd like to have maybe a 2 to 3 minute break at this point to speak to the applicant regarding some of the testimony that's transpired at this point.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor, calm down.
Thank you.
Mr. Maraconda.
Mr. Paterson, I apologize. I need a couple more minutes. I apologize. I'll go as quick as I can, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, are there any questions of the board members, for, the planner?
We shouldn't do that until the applicant's involved.
Okay, I was just a question on the thing, but that's okay, you're right.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm back on record. I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your patience. Mr. Chairman, I had an off-the-record discussion with the applicant. He's obviously heard the testimony and the dialogue between the professionals as well as the objector's comments. We would like the opportunity to continue this matter, carry it to a new date, substantially before which we would submit revised plans with respect to this project. So at this point, I have the applicant's consent to make that request, and we would appreciate that opportunity. Thank you.
Madam Secretary.
One moment, I'm checking my calendar. Be right back.
Thank you.
Picking on that?
This matter of, Sunel Apartment 224-228 17th Avenue will be carried to July 22nd, 2021 at 7:30 p.m.
For the record, the statutory time requirements will be waived.
Thank you, Mr. LaRocca.
We can proceed with the next application.
Mr. LaRocca, just, for the, edification of the.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, I was gonna do that, thank you.
Yeah, I apologize. To the members of the public who are watching this application, in addition to the ones who have called in, the matter is going to be adjourned. The applicant wants to, take a second look at the application and potentially modify. The application will be relisted for the date again in July is?
July
July
22nd.
22nd, 2021 at 7:30 p.m.
July 22nd, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. There will not be further notice. You will not receive a letter. This is your notice of the date. If you wish to attend, that is the date. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please. Mr. Maraconda, your next case, please.
I'm sorry, I thought the board secretary was gonna call the matter. I apologize. We're ready to proceed with respect to the second application on the agenda this evening. My applicant is Mr. George Zerzanowski. Oh, sorry, I apologize, yes, Alan Maricondo, for the record, on behalf of the applicant. The property address is 167, 169 East 22nd Street. As I indicated in our opening when we entered the calendar, this is an application only for site plan and bulk variances in the R2 zone. And this matter is an application simply to convert a very large one-family into a standard size, if you will, two-family house which conforms to the R2 residential zone. I'll be calling Mr. Romanek, the architect planner, as well as the applicant tonight. So, Mr. Romanek, we're ready to proceed. We'll be setting up our plan now.
Mr. Maricondo and members of the board, on my review list, I have the zone as the R2 zone, and then incorrectly I had hospital support zone. It's actually the R2 zone, low to medium residential density. That's just, that's the zone that we're in.
We absolutely agree.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Romanek is ready. Yes, sir.
Mr. Romanek, please raise your right hand.
Barry, is that if the notice, if they notice with the wrong zone in it? Or
We did not call this wrong, no.
No, it's the right zone, it's R2. It's R2 zone, and I say it's the R2 zone. I just had the description wrong, but I called it the R2 zone, and Glenn Torrey has it in the R2 zone, and I believe his letter of intent was the R2 zone.
Right, everything on our end was R2, including the public notice.
That's correct. Thank you.
Are we ready for Mr. Romanek to be sworn in? Please raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Say your full name for the record.
Yes, Michael Romanek, R-O-M-A-N-I-K. I'm currently registered as an architect and licensed planner.
Mr. Chairman, we ask for his acceptance.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Romanek, you had an opportunity to prepare the site plan and architectural renderings, is that correct?
So I have, and at this time I wish to ask that we share the site plan drawing, Commissioner, so you'll see the location of the property and the house later on. You're looking at the survey, Commissioners, on the right. Well, we'll look at the left-hand portion. That is the boundary survey, and you'll see an existing structure on a lot that has 37.5 feet frontage along East 22nd Street, and the property is 100 feet deep. The total area, of course, is 3,750 square feet. The lot coverage, which includes the building and the garage, comes to 39%, 40% is allowed. There's no change to the footprint of the building. What we are doing is proposing to convert this one-family house, which has 5 bedrooms, to a two-family house. Each will have 2 bedrooms. So we're actually reducing the number of bedrooms in our proposal. You can see also from that boundary survey that there is a driveway which leads to a 1-car garage to the rear. And currently, the driveway does provide parking for 2 cars. So we feel that we are providing 3 spaces. Again, for the garage, and we have 2 spaces in the driveway. The property, as already indicated, is in the R2 zone, which allows 2-family houses. Again, we're not changing the footprint whatsoever. As you can also see from the site plan detail, which is on the right side of the portion, where that darkened in area, that shows the existing footprint of the building. And as you can see, it says proposed 2nd floor. The structure itself currently has the 2nd floor, which we'll be looking at the architectural drawings, and you'll see that it does provide for bedrooms on the 2nd floor. It's only a partial 2nd floor, which does not figure the configuration of the ground floor level itself, or the 1st floor, I should say. This plan also shows provision for stormwater drainage, which currently is not provided. The water essentially just runs out onto the street along the driveway, so we will be picking up the stormwater from the roof as well. And again, the structure in the back is the garage, which will remain. Again, as I indicated, the property does not have the 5,000 square feet for a 2-family house, which is required. However, in my field surveying of the property itself along East 22nd Street, I did look at the 11 other buildings on the same side of East 22nd Street adjoining the subject property, which is 167 and 169 East 22nd Street. And I did find that, in fact, there are 9 two-family homes along there between 5th Avenue and 4th Avenue, and there are 2 one-family homes. Excuse me, there are 2 one-family homes. Of the 11 houses, only 5 have driveways. Generally, all the houses are undersized lots, and I'm going to have a drink of water if you don't mind, commissioners. My throat is getting dry from talking. Excuse me. Thank you. So as I indicated,
Mr. Romanek, if I may, Gary Paparosi, the 5,000 square feet and the 50 feet, they're pre-existing, non-conforming, those are existing. So in other words, you need 50 feet and 5,000 square feet for one family, and you need 50 feet frontage and 5,000 square feet for 2 families. So even if you were making a one family, it's still pre-existing, so in that case, this lot, because it's undersized, it's just pre-existing, it's not a new variance, in my opinion.
Great, yes, that is correct. It's going to remain as the 37.5. We don't have the 5,000 for a 2-family. 5,000 square feet is required for a 1-family and a 2-family. We are in a 2-family zone, so by right, of course, we are allowed to have a 2-family house. Again, we're deficient, but there's no changes whatsoever. And the reason I did present the adjoining properties, I wanted to justify and show the commissioners that, in fact, the properties I looked at, there are 2-family homes. That's the majority. The 11 that I looked at along the same side of East 22nd Street, 9 are 2 families and 2 are 1 families. And again, generally speaking, on both sides of the street, it appeared obviously to me anyway, and I did look at some of the tax maps to verify that the majority of houses are undersized lots. Many of them are 25 by 100 lots, having 2-family homes thereon. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the commissioners that, in fact, there's no changes whatsoever. We are converting the structure to a 2-family house. The footprint will remain the same. The parking provisions will remain the same as well. So commissioners, having looked at the lot in relation to the building, if we can proceed to look at the architectural drawings, you'll see what we are proposing. Sheet number 1, commissioners, as you can see, represents the existing elevations. That is the views of the subject building itself. Looking to the far upper left-hand corner, you'll see the existing front elevation, and you do see a roof that does contain 3 bedrooms, which we will be seeing on the second floor plan, showing those existing bedrooms. We're going to entirely remove the roof, as indicated on that drawing. To the right, you'll see the left side elevation. The roof and the dormer will be removed, and also the other elevations as well. As you can see, we're going to be removing the roof entirely, right down to the ceiling line of the first floor itself. So we are converting it, and the footprint will be identical. You can go to sheet number 2, commissioners. You'll see the floor plans. And if you see in the middle of the sheet, you'll see the existing floor plan. You'll see 2 bedrooms. There's a kitchen area, there's a bathroom, a sitting area, dining area, and living room, and there's also a front door. As you can see.
You're referring to the second floor?
I'm referring to the existing first floor.
I'm sorry.
More or less in the center of the sheet itself.
Understood.
Looking to the far right, you'll see the existing second floor, which contains 3 bedrooms, and there's also a large closet with sliding doors, and a stairway in the rear, as you can also see. And that's smaller, obviously, than the first floor itself. That's going to be entirely removed, that second floor, and it's going to be matching the configuration and the room layout of the first floor once we turn to the next sheet. However, commissioners, if you can look also to the far left, you'll see the existing basement floor plan. That essentially is a basement which contains just household storage. There are no rooms down there. Also shown on the photographs to the far left of the sheet itself. To the upper portion of the diagram, there's a stairway that leads to the hallway, which you can also see on the existing first floor, which leads back into the first floor, as well as the exterior door, which is also shown on the first floor plan. So, in fact, there's no usage of the basement other than, as you can see from those photographs, just household storage and at that time junk. Now, if turn to sheet number 3, Commissioners, you'll see what we are proposing. And you can see the proposed front elevation. We've taken off the irregular shaped configuration of the roof in the second floor. Essentially, the existing second floor has sloped ceilings. It's very irregular, and we are coming up with a configuration that will match the first floor itself. Those stairs are existing. They will remain. Essentially, the front door, as you can see, also will remain. The entire structure will be re-sided, which would make it look even nicer in the neighborhood. To the far left, you'll see the left side elevation. With the windows, again, both units, the first and second floor units have the same configuration, and therefore the same fenestration of the windows as well. Looking to the lower left portion, you'll see the right side elevation. Again, it's located with the windows as well. And you'll see the height of the second floor, which is 8 feet, which is very typical. The existing first floor height is approximately 9 feet. 8 feet is more of the typical height which we are proposing. And then you'll see an attic as well, which does not provide for any space whatsoever. You'll see on the proposed floor plans there are no stairs obviously going to the attic itself. And the rear elevation on the lower right-hand side, you'll see the existing door, which will remain and serve only the first floor as it does now. Commissioners, turning to sheet number 4, you'll see on the left-hand portion, which shows it as the proposed first floor plan. And if you recall from my description of the first floor, those walls and spaces, as you see, essentially remain as is in our proposal. Nothing is changed whatsoever, except for the front stairs, which will go to the second floor. And you can see that as you enter the existing court, you'll go into a foyer, which allows you to go straight into the apartment door, of course, to the first floor apartment, or you can take the stairs going upstairs, and you'll arrive on the second floor, which is shown on the right hand portion of the drawing itself. But again, you can see the configuration of the space is essentially the same. We have 2 bedrooms, which are located above the existing bedrooms. The bathroom located, above the existing bathroom and the kitchen. As you can also see with the dining area towards the rear, there are no stairs going to the outside, so currently the only way upstairs would be from the front foyer as shown. Each apartment contains over 1,000 square feet, closer to 1,100 square feet, which certainly meets the minimum requirement of 900 square feet for a 2-bedroom apartment. So in fact, we're taking the one single apartment, the one family house, which contains 5 bedrooms, and we're creating 2 apartments. Each of the apartments will contain 2 bedrooms, so we are reducing the number of bedrooms to condition of the building as well as the aesthetics of itself and sharing that with the neighborhood. So we think it's going to be a nice proposal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manick. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our testimony. Mr. Manick, he's available.
Gary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, excuse me. Mr. Organic, let's first go over the variances, the newly created variances, okay? I have a variance for minimum front setback, which is 20 feet. 11.47 feet is proposed. Minimum side setback, one side, 4 feet is the minimum, 3.66 feet is proposed.
Yes.
Minimum side setback for both is 14 feet, 12.69 feet is proposed.
Yes.
Okay, and parking, 3 spaces are required and 2 are proposed. Now, you did mention 3 spaces, but first of all, Paterson does not allow 3 tandem.
We understand.
And second of all, the 3 spaces cannot work when you're tandem for 2 family. obviously, you know that. So the variance is still gonna be for one space, for the application.
Understood.
Okay. Now, on your sheet 3 of 4, which is the elevation view, okay, in the front elevation, you have a full-size window, and in the rear, you still have a full-size window, and the elevation to the peak is 8 feet. What is going up there?
In the attic?
Yeah.
Nothing is proposed in the attic, that's just done for aesthetics, that's all. There's a window there just to provide, fresh air into the attic rather than have it,
Okay, how do you get access to the attic?
The access would be eventually for a pull-down, access, either a stairway or a pull-down access panel. It doesn't matter to the owner, if it's just gonna be a pull-down access panel, that would be fine. You have to provide access to the attic itself. That can either be done by a pull-down stairway, and that's why I did emphasize that there's no stairs, obviously, interior stairs leading to that attic area. Either a pull-down stairway or just a panel itself. We do have to provide access. That's up to the owner. It's not gonna be used for anything, as you can see from the slope of the roof. You wouldn't have anything that's habitable there, obviously, anyway. But there are.
A roof that size has produced bedrooms, Mr. Romanek, in the past. But, that being said, you need to show that pull down on your proposed second floor plan.
No problem at all, and certainly will indicate that it's vacant space.
Yes.
Yes, and you need to do that as well. Okay. Mr. Mariconda, is Mr. Charnowski going to testify?
Yes, he will.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Romanek. Thank you.
Any commissioners have questions? Mr. LaRocca, can you open it up to the public, please?
Yes, Chairman. To the members of the public, if you have questions of this witness, please call 973-321-1579, and when prompted to, enter the meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Now is the time to ask questions of this witness, not to give statements. You'll have an opportunity to give statements at the end. If you have questions, again, call 973-321-1579, and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment, see if anybody calls. Do we have any callers?
We have no callers at this time.
Let's proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll call the applicant at this time.
Where's the applicant, Mr. Maricon?
The applicant is being seated right behind me.
I don't see any.
Your camera's off, Mr. Mariconda.
I apologize for that. We're working on it right now. We're working on it. Are we good? And Linda, can you see us?
No.
No? We're on the screen from our perspective. We'll keep working at it.
cameras off.
We're gonna try and redo it again.
That mine.
Is there a problem with other, other individual cameras or no?
Not that I know of.
Everybody has their cameras off.
Disconnect and come back on. Would you like to disconnect and come back?
We're gonna keep working
Are
on
the
it.
commissioners having a problem with their camera? I see
We can't
Commissioner
see
Romero has one, but, that's the only one I see.
Good standard.
Hi, good evening. This is our Commissioner Furman. Can you guys see me?
Yep.
Thank you.
We're working on it on our end, I apologize. Maybe you have an iPad we can use, or?
Alan, can you do it by phone at least so we can see the witness swearing?
Exactly what I just suggested.
Come back, we're.
We can keep it on two locations. The witness has to be seen to be sworn, yes. Oh, we've been on. Can you see us now, Elizabeth?
Not yet.
We're working on it, and we're gonna try the alternative of the iPad, the iPhone, I guess, whatever. Because we can see everyone that's on the screen from our end completely.
You want to take a shot at it now?
I apologize for the delay, we don't know what transpired, but we're working on it.
Alan, can you come off and come back on?
You're not even listed, as a participant, Alan.
What, pardon me?
You're not even listed as a participant, so, maybe you might wanna sign off and come back on. You're not even on the participants.
Try that as well. We'll try this in the meantime, go ahead, try to go on and off again.
Excuse me, Mr. Maricon, it was suggested by the IT staff to disconnect and come back.
Are we visible now? And Linda, are we visible?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, you're visible.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna call the applicant at this time.
Please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I can't hear you. You have to speak up.
Keep your voice up, George.
I do.
Okay.
Say your full name for the record.
George Kozanowski. George Kozanowski.
Can you spell your last name?
C-H-Y-Z-A-N-O-W-S-K-I.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Kozanowski.
Mr. Maricano, you have to do something because I could barely hear him.
Why don't you just come up and stand here, George, or slide that chair up? I apologize. Come a little closer, please. Sorry about that. So apologize for that. All right, George, can you just state your name again for the record? Let's see how your sound is.
Yeah, George Kozanowski.
Is that okay?
C-H-R-Z-A-N-O-W-S-K-I.
Is that audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, just keep your voice up as much as you can, George. George, you heard the testimony of Mr. Romanek and my opening comments tonight?
Yes.
Keep your voice up.
Yes,
So you're keeping your mask on. So, and you also heard the dialogue and discussion with the board planner with Mr. Romanek?
Correct.
And you're in full agreement with all that testimony and dialogue?
Absolutely.
Okay, and just a brief summary. You own this house and it's been a rental home as a one family with 5 bedrooms, is that right?
That's correct.
And just try to wait till I finish my question, it's a lot easier for the court reporter. And your proposal here, as outlined by Mr. Romanek, is to create what is typical to the surrounding area on East 22nd Street, which is a 2-family dwelling unit in an apartment.
That's correct.
Okay, and you're in full agreement with his testimony, is that right?
Yes, 100%.
And you feel that that's more suitable for this area?
Absolutely.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Charnowski, is your basement, still as the photos indicate, unfinished? The
Yes.
photos from the romantic, architectural plan, they show your basement is unfinished. Is that still the case?
Yes, it is. I'm finished.
Okay, your application says that you have the 1 family, but you have 2 doorbells on your house. Can you explain that?
No idea why.
Has it always been that way?
It's always been no way.
And when did you buy the house, George?
A few years ago, probably 5, 6 years ago.
It's been after your testimony on the road, did you have a 1 family rental?
Yeah, one family rental. Always.
Okay, so there was no existing apartment prior on the, top half floor?
No.
Okay. But I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Do you agree with, Mr. Romanek, on that half story that's being proposed? That, there would be unfinished and, no rooms?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, for the applicant.
Any commissioners have questions?
Yes, hi, good evening, Mr. Chairman. I do have a couple of questions for Mr. George.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, hi, good evening, George. Do you live in this property?
No, the property is rented.
Do you own more property in our city of Paterson?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, these are my two questions.
Any other commissioners have questions? Okay. Marco, could you open it up to the public, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the members of the public, if you have questions of the applicant, please call 973-321-1579, and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment to see if anybody calls. Do we have any callers?
We have no callers at this time.
Thank you, let's proceed.
Mr. Chairman, that would conclude our presentation. Shall I sum up at this point?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Again, Commissioners, thank you for hearing us. Again, we're seeking site plan and bulk variances as outlined by Mr. Romanek, and also review with Mr. Paparazzi in detail. We agree with his comments, and we agree with all the conditions that are set forth on the site plan, and we will make the necessary minor changes that Mr. Paparazzi requested regarding marking the attic as vacant, and to show a pull-down stair only for access for safety purposes. And again, we agree with the variances that he has outlined on his review. And again, we're bringing this site into conformity as a two-family. We're also drastically improving the aesthetic appearance of the building, and we're providing now 2 quality housing units that are substantially upgraded compared to the one that was there for many years. So we ask the board's consideration for approval on that basis. Thank you.
Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. The only variance to consider is the 1 parking space short of the 3 required and 2 being proposed, which in this case I don't believe is the positive outweighs the negative. If the board does make a motion to approve the application, it should be with the revision to the architect's plan showing that attic to be unfinished, and to show the pull-down stairs so that it's not the stairway going up to the 3rd floor or to the 2nd and a half floor. And also one other condition, that the basement remains unfinished, because there were 2 doorbells and commissioners on the property that was assessed as a 1-family. So I just want to make sure it doesn't increase past the 2-family. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll take a motion, please. Someone can make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, before you make a motion, this is Commissioner Watkins. I just need to know if the owner or Maggie could inform the commissioners if the taxes and sewer are updated.
For the record, we did provide the hard copies. I'm not sure if Ms. Vega and I crossed paths when I delivered them today. It was a very busy time in that office, but I can represent as an officer of the court that we did provide the proofs, and I'll verify that with Ms. Vega again tomorrow morning. I can email her additional copies as well.
Yes, that is true. Thank you very much.
Continue, thank you.
So at this time, can we have a motion, please?
Yes, hi, good evening. This is our Commissioner Furman. I would like to make the first motion.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
For the record, under the condition that was made by our planner, my first motion is for approval.
Maggie, could you read it into the record, please?
Yes, sir. 1 moment. The application, Commissioner Thurman makes a motion that the application of George Krasnowski concerning the premises at 167, 169 East 22nd Street, Block 2408, Lot 6, to convert a current 5-bedroom, 1-family dwelling into a 5-bedroom, 2-family dwelling on a 37-foot by 100-foot lot. The minimum lot size for a 1 and 2-family dwelling is 50 by 100 lot in an R2 zone. The applicant proposed that the first floor would consist of a 2-bedroom apartment and the second floor will consist of a 3-bedroom apartment. The applicant will provide 2 parking spaces of the 4 that are required. This is for bulk and site plan in an R2 zone. Be granted and subject to the review and approval, if applicable, to the following but not limited to city engineer, Passaic County Planning Board, Passaic County Engineer, HEB Soil Conservation District, and building codes of the state of New Jersey with the condition of revised plans. The attic remain unfinished and with pull down stairs, and the basement remain unfinished. He so moves.
Commissioner Rahim, I second it. Motion made by Commissioner Furman, second by Commissioner Rahim. Madam Secretary, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas?
Approved.
Thank you. Commissioner Furman?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Commissioner Levine?
Yeah.
Commissioner Minaldo?
Yes.
Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
And Chairman Paterson?
Yes.
This application has been granted. Further business. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mariconda, one quick note before you sign off. On the 17th Avenue application, my report was in February, and and it said that the entire zoning chart was incorrect. And I'm trying to let some of these go just so we can catch up to the agenda. But the problem here is when people go to look at the plans, they're looking at maybe 1 or 2 variances because he's not listing them all, and there were 13. So, I don't want to call it incomplete, but you had the letter in February. It was 2 months. He had ample time to revise it. So please, not only on that application, but also on the future ones. In my report, it gives you an outline on what needs to be adjusted. Okay.
I will speak to the site plan engineer, that is noted, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Chairman Paterson, you will close the meeting, sir?
Yes. No further business.
No, sir.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night, all.
Great weekend.
Adjourned.
Good night.
Good night.